Next. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna study another lesson still under chapter 4, Fundamental Algebra. Our second lesson will be all about exponential notation. Repeat. Okay, exponential notations. Way of writing exponents. Let's have your squad goal. So we have 3 squad goals for this lesson. First, we define exponents, base, and power. Second, simplify numerical expressions involving exponents and grouping symbols. Lastly, evaluate numerical expressions with exponents. So, let's do the first goal already. Not yet. We still have this math trivia. So we have this another mathematician. Algebra is a branch of mathematics characterized by the use of variables, symbols that varies, and operations relating these variables. Diophantus, a Greek mathematician in the 3rd century, was for some time called the father of algebra. By the way, this is not Diophantus. Because of his use of an algebraic approach in solving problems. But Diophantus was interested only in one positive rational solutions, and his work had little impact to other mathematicians during his days. So who is this man? This is Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, a Persian mathematician in the 9th century. He published a treatise entitled Hisab al-Jawar wal-Muqabala, in which he discussed how to solve linear and quadratic equations. With the next week's lesson, we're gonna have this, the linear and quadratic equation. We're gonna further discuss this in grade 8, by the way. His work was so influential, he was awarded the title, the father of algebra. Again, who's that one? Musa al-Khwarizmi. It is from the title of his treatise, Al-Jawar, that we take the word algebra. Okay, so that is the morphology of the word algebra, yung pinanggalingan ng salita. Algebra, algebra. So here's my math trivia presentation. Next, speaking mathematically, s raised to the power of 2 or to the second power is read as s squared. If before we read it that way, today or for the next weeks, the next days, we're gonna read it as s squared. Later, I'm gonna reveal why, bakit squared yung tawag sa kanya. Next, s raised to the power of 3 is read as s cubed. Again, in algebra, we're gonna read every exponent with 3 as s cubed. Okay? What is the reason for that one? If you're familiar with the area of square, example, this is square. So how do we get the area of this square? So we just simply multiply its side. So we have s times s, or simply s to the power of 2. Thus, s squared. Galing siya sa square. Okay? What about s to the 3rd power? Bakit siya naging s cube? Because sa cube naman siya, no? Let me draw here a perfect cube. Ayan. Sana maging perfect. Okay, we have here your cube. And how do we get the area of your cube? So, what do we do is we just multiply as well its side, its length, its width, and its height. Right? But since all of its sides are equal, s na lang, represented by s. Thus, we could just multiply all those 3. S times s times s. Or simply s raised to the 3rd power. Or s cubed. Okay, so dun siya nanggaling. The word s squared and s cubed. From this area. Again, please always read this exponent once you see that the variable has an exponent of 2. read it as s squared. Same goes if the exponent is 3, read it as cube. For the others, like this, s raised to 4th is read as s to the 4th power or s to the 4th. Okay, the normal way. So for you to fully understand this exponent, let's have the expanded notation. So expanded notation, we have here an example, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So for this one, we do not use anymore this sign in algebra because it is confusing if this x or multiplication sign. Thus, we use this symbol, the dot or period in between or in the middle. Or we could also use parentheses. You could have 5 parentheses times 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, so these are the ways on how to write this notation. Expanded notation. So if we multiply all this together, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, we will have 625. And how do you call this one? Instead of product, we call it power. We call it power. Okay. Next, aside from expanded notation, we could also write this one into this exponential notation. Exponential notation meaning you have an exponent and a base. So first, what you will do is copy the base or the number that you multiplied to itself, that is 5, and then count how many times you multiply the number to itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be your exponent. 5 to the power to the 4th power is the exponential notation for this one. Okay, again, this is your base and 4 is your exponent. With this example, we could have the definition that the base is the number that is being multiplied. Take note of it. Number that is being multiplied, base. While the exponent, it tells you how many times the base is used as a factor. Tells you how many times the base is used as a factor. Okay, kung ilang beses minultiply yung base to itself. Next, power is a number written as a product of equal factors. So, product. Okay, power, product. If you're clear with this one, type BEP in our chat box. Even if you don't have your chat box here, BEP for base, exponent, and power. And that's it. That's our lesson for today. So those are the important concept in exponential notation. Already know how to write in exponential notation. So let's have this activity, seat work. Before you have your seat work, let's have this examples. Write the following in expanded notation. I have here examples for exponential notation. So let's answer it. For number 1, we have x raised to the 4th power y squared. That's how you read it. Again, x raised to the 4th power y squared. No need for the word n. Okay, so how do you write its expanded notation? Copy the base and then multiply it by the number of your exponent. X times x, that's the second one. Times x, that's the third one. Lastly, for the 4th one. And so we got x times x times x times x times y times y for y squared. So here's the expanded notation for this exponential notation. Next, let's have the second one. 6 squared a cubed b squared. How do you expand this? Same process. 6 times 6 times a times a times a times b times b. So here's the expanded notation for this exponential notation. Last example, we got negative 2 over 3 quantity raised to the fourth power. So what are we gonna do here? Just copy your base. By the way, your base here is negative 2 over 3. Okay? Copy it and then multiply it by itself by the number of times or by the number of your exponent. So negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3. So here we go. Here's the expanded notation for this exponential notation. Take note, as you may observe, we do not use anymore the dot, rather we use the parenthesis.